Let's take a look at how the season panned out.
Round 5 of the 7-race series was the Bell Equipment Trans-Tonga Land Race, which started at the Mku's airfield near Sodwana Bay and began early in the morning with a spectacular mad dash down the runway. It was the most spectacular start in off-road racing, and Kutsia used the Toyota's considerable turbo power to get to the fore and snatch the advantage. At the end of the runway, the field jockeyed for position as they funneled through a gate and onto a narrow one-lane track. Fortunately, there was no contact, and the race was well and truly on. Early in the race, a number of competitors had missed a vital route marker and missed a section of the route. The Chepex thus found themselves leading on the road, but racing under the threat of exclusion. Richard CAROLIN had also missed the same section and faced the same prospect, but carried on in hope that it would be resolved before the race was over. There were no such problems for the Toyotas though. Reinecker and Kutsia soon found themselves racing each other at the head of the production category field. Rob Walk was another competitor who'd missed the controversial marker. He too carried on, but wondered whether or not it was all worth it when he ran out of fuel shortly before the end. Stop, decide on your options, then it's pedal to the metal for Bucks Carolyn and Scholthammer as they kick up mud and power through a puddle, much to the delight of spectators. They'd followed the correct route and were effectively leading the race. Also going well was the Digidor Raceco of Lambert and Fourie, and they too had stayed on course. Again, the Mitsubishi Pajero of Woolwich and Vermaak was running at the head of the Class E field with little opposition. They even had time to give the camera crew a hoot. KwaZulu Italians Richard Everingham and Alvin Rocha had their self-fit Mazda rotary-powered ETT Bushmaster running well and in the top 6. While the Toyotas were out in front, Barker and Joubert were keeping the Land Rover in touch, and shortly before the end, Kutsia rolled the Hilux, which saw them move into second place. Woolwich and Vermaak won their class with third place ahead of Anthony and Birkin, while Kutsia and Leek recovered to take fifth, 1.5 hours behind the winners.
Ja, ons is baie tevrede en baie gelukkig met ons vertoning. Ons het nou nog ons voorsprong so 'n bietjie meer vergroot op die nasionale kampioenskappe. Baie lekker roete. Ek het dit baie lekker geniet.
Although the Chepex won on the road, the specials win went to Carolyn and Scholthammer ahead of the ever-consistent Lambert and Fourie. Rowe had another good result in his JRE, while Everingham bagged fourth from Schilling.
We crossed the line first. We finished ahead of everybody else. But out there today was a bit of a picnic. The marking was a little bit poor in places. Some people seem to take wrong turns and be short of marshal points. I'm not sure whether we aren't at this stage. But there's talk of it maybe, and then we don't know who's going to be the overall winner at this stage.
It was down to Weppener in the Eastern Free State for round 6 of the series, and Richard CAROLIN scooped the special vehicle honours after a race-on battle with his younger brother Bucks and navigator Kenny Scholthammer. Third and not far behind was Pinoy and Jackson, while Harvey and Stone returned to the series to claim fourth, ahead of the creepy-crawly hugbug of Paolo Piazzamuso and Stratford Vogt. With Kutsia and Leek missing this round and Reinecker and Houghton retiring for the first time this season, the production honours went to Woolwich and Vermaak in the Mitsubishi. Following them were Anthony and Birkin in the Toyota, with Ducky and Willem Slubbert heading Niels Lemmer and Jerry Basson to back third. Now equipped with four-wheel drive, Theo Kutsia and Ian Wedderburn rounded off the top 5 in their Chev S10. Johannesburg Yamaha rider Christo took the quad win, which moved him to the top of the championship table, with little-known Johan Lotte taking the runners-up prize on a similar Yamaha Banshee. With Van Deventer out of action after fracturing his elbow during a short-course race shortly after the desert race, Vanamava is now clear favourite for the quad honours. Former bike racer Anton Hoffman scored his best result to date in taking third aboard his special, and Paul Chomsky headed fellow Yamaha riders Johan Steenkamp and Mark Breckel. Darryl Curtis took the bike honours for the Castrol AGA Panasonic Team KTM after teammate Cox had a rare fall and could only manage 11th place. Clayton Enslin took his FMF Kawasaki to a narrow 200 class win by claiming a tremendous third overall. The 500 class was a Grant Bloomfield benefit. McLaughlin kept his class championship lead by finishing second, while Rian Fanikak was credited with the same time as Enslin to share third. The final venue for the series was Maseru in Lesotho for the Lesotho Sun Pennzoil Roof of Africa Rally. Again, it was a colourful array of machinery that assembled for the start. Once underway, the race for line honours turned out to be a close contest between the Chepex and Schilling, whose navigator Ashley Thorne hails from the Mountain Kingdom. Also in the hunt were Lambert and Fourie, and they were chased by single-seater pilot Richard CAROLIN. Wilfried Beslau is another local driver, and with much of the route being new to everyone, local knowledge could play a part in the outcome. All Rediker needed to clinch the title was to finish in the top 5. Barker and Joubert, on the other hand, needed to win if they were to have any chance. The Class E title was almost a foregone conclusion for Woolwich and for Mark. As it turned out, Schilling built up a commanding lead before his rear suspension cried enough, and he was forced to watch the Chepex snatch the title. Richard CAROLIN thus came home second, ahead of Lambert and Fourie, while Beslau shared his car with Wolf-Peter Fumfei to take fourth, ahead of the hobbling Schilling and Thorne. The Chepex celebrated their championship triumph, while Schilling and Thorne held on to second place by the skin of their teeth from Richard CAROLIN, who was 2 points behind. A further 4 points adrift were Lambert and Fourie. With the tragic death of his wife Thelma in a road accident a week prior to the start, R.P. Rediker overcame the odds to win the production category and claim his and navigator Houghton's third successive production crown. Second in the title race were Barker and Joubert, while Woolwich and Vermaak got third despite missing the opening 2 races of the season. Fourth was the Anthony Birkin Toyota, while Coetzee and Leek missed the last 2 events but still took 5th. Alfie Cox took his 8th roof win after leading from start to finish, despite losing over half an hour after being given a wrong direction by a marshal. Spencer Creel tackled the mountains with great verve to rock the establishment and hold a strong top 6 placing. Graham McLaughlin was aboard a 4-stroke 400cc Honda for this outing and was going well. Not far behind was Germany's KTM-mounted Dirk van Zitzwitz, while Ensland battled to tame his little Kawasaki in the rarefied Mountain Air. Cox ran out the easy winner, although the 2 Shell Honda riders, Errol Dalton and McLaughlin, made up a lot of ground on the final day to close to within 10 minutes. Fourth was Curtis, who'd stayed with Cox until the final day, while Krill impressed by taking 5th ahead of Elmer Simons. Van Zitzewitz was the best of the foreign riders in 7th, well clear of countryman Nico Klaus. As expected, Ensland won the 200 class, McLaughlin the 250s, and Cox the open class, which gave Kawasaki, Honda and KTM each a champion to be proud of. After incurring a 2.5-hour penalty for not completing the time trial due to engine failure, Christo hopes for the quad title looked bleak. Skullberger on a Yamaha Blaster was dictating early on in the race and was chased by the bigger machines of Mark Breckel and David Parkinson. The Maluti Mountains proved hostile to the quad riders and soon took their toll on man and machine. At the end, victory went to Johan Steenkamp on a 200cc Yamaha Blaster, the first time in history that a Blaster had finished the route, let alone won. But it was Vanamava who took the championship by crossing the line first on the final day of racing. Skullberger, also on a Blaster, took second ahead of Mark Breckel and Cornelius Mzimani, while Vanamava was the final quad home in 5th. Steenkamp's win ensured that he finished the year as runner-up ahead of Breckel, early leader Johan Kruger and Polaris rider Louis Bossel.